Okay, kids, in this video we'll be looking at the imperfect or past subjunctive and how to conjugate those particular verbs. Just like the present subjunctive, there's a theory behind how we conjugate in the imperfect of the subjunctive or the past subjunctive. In the present tense, it was go to the O, drop the O, and add the opuesto. There's obviously a nice rhyme that goes well with the imperfect subjunctive as well, as it makes perfect sense, which is to go to the eos form of the preterite and then drop the ron, the R-O-N, from the end. What I can tell you is, if you go to the eos form of the preterite and the verb that you're conjugating does not end in R-O-N, then you have done something incorrectly. Every verb in the preterite in the eos form ends in R-O-N. So to form the past subjunctive, the first thing you need to do is take the verb, put it into the eos form of the preterite, and then remove the R-O-N from the end of the verb. Once you've removed the R-O-N from the end of the verb, you're going to add on these endings. Let me explain. You can add on ra, ras, ra, ramos, rice, ran, also known as the Lady Gaga endings, ra, ras, ra, ramos. Or you can add on se, ses, say, samo, say, sen. Now, this is not AR verbs and ER verbs and IR verbs. It's one set of endings. You have a choice. You can go with the ra, ras, ra endings, or you can go with the say, says endings. In the past, way back in time, it used to be that the ra, ras endings were for AR verbs and the say, says, say endings were for ER and IR verbs. However, over time, these endings have melded. So people traditionally now either go with the ra endings or the say endings. You will see both. You'll typically see a lot of the se endings in older literature. The more common way now is for ra, ras, ra, but either way is fine. They're both correct, but the more common one now is the Lady Gaga endings here. I also want you to note this is an accent mark, as is here in the nosotros form. The reason why it's not over a letter is that when you add ramos on, you're always, and I repeat always, going to have a vowel right before the ramos. If you don't, you've done something incorrect, or something incorrectly. So when whatever vowel appears right here before the ramos or the samos, you're going to put an accent mark on it. For instance, if we were doing the verb caber, the eos form of the preterite is cupieron. Remember, caber goes to coop. We're going to drop the ron, and then if we were doing nosotros, we would add on ramos, and that gives us cupiéramos, the accent mark right there. If the verb is irregular in the preterite, it will be irregular here, and that irregularity will carry through to all six forms. Basically, in the imperfect subjunctive, once you have the eos form of the preterite, you're done. All you need to do is drop the ron and add on the appropriate endings. So this tense is really based off the preterite. If you know the preterite really well, this verb tense will be super easy for you. You may want to go back and watch some of my review the preterite videos that I have posted on the YouTube channel. So things like andar going to anduve and tener to tuve and the I to Y and the stem changers and the five irregular preterites. Those are all in play here, and you want to make sure that you know the preterite really well. And if you do, you'll have no problem in the imperfect subjunctive. Here are some practices, so why don't you pause the video and try to come up with the correct answers, and then you can play it again and the answers will be posted. Okay, here are your answers for these questions. Tener goes to tuve. The eos form of the preterite is tuvieron. Drop the ron, tuvieras. Or you could have written tuvieses. Leer is a verb that is a double vowel verb, so it's going to go I to Y. Again, if you're not sure about that, make sure you go back and watch the other preterite videos. I'm not going to go over that here in this video. So, leyéramos, accent mark on the E, or leyésemos. Decir goes to dij, so we're going to drop the ron and we get dijeron. Remember, this verb is spelled like this in the preterite because the Pac-Man eats the I. Again, go back and watch the video if you don't remember. Or dijese would be fine here too. Dormir is a stem changer, O to U. It is a basement boy verb. Again, if you're not sure, make sure you go back and watch that video. Durmiera or durmiese. Pedir is an E to I, another basement boy verb. Pidieran or pidiesen, if you want to use the other endings. And then ir is one of the irregulars in the preterite. The eos form is fueron. Drop the ron. Fueras or fueses would also be correct. Just as with the present subjunctive, if you're looking for more practice, Colby Spanish Grammar. Google that. Use the red tabs on the side for imperfect subjunctive. They have great practice. They have 50 verbs that you can fully conjugate and check your answers with. Conjuguemos.com and spalion.com are also great resources for you to go to practice your conjugations. Again, everything is based off of the preterite and the aorist form of the preterite and all the things that may affect the aorist form of the preterite. So with that being said, if you are a little bit shaky in that area, go back, watch the preterite videos, give yourself a refresher, and you can do practice on the preterite, and that will help you in this tense.